Hello and welcome to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel for our Saturday night stream. Make sure the audio, yeah. And let's play a little bit of Geoguessr. Get started. Look at this. Okay, this fence immediately makes me think North America. Beware of dog posted keep out. Yeah. US or Canada. You don't see that anywhere else. Okay, now we've got an actual road. Gabriel, private road, village cut. Okay, suddenly it is extremely bright. Let's look at those bins. Okay, yeah, US-Canada style mailbox as well. Okay, that looks council-y. Take that out. Okay, we're in the US. Speed limit 25. Now we need... Hillsborough County. Okay. That helps me not one bit. Okay, there's gotta be a main street around here someplace. Okay, this feels like the way out. Okay, dual carriageway. Kings Ridge. No sign of a ridge. No sign of any kings. That sounds like a US suburban place name. Kingswood. HART, something regional transit. That be Hartford? Kings Avenue Baptist Church and Christian School. Help us feed the bay. Okay, Hillsborough County. And it's in a bay, apparently. It's an 813 area code. Hold on. 813, didn't we just have this? More Kings Avenue shit. Well, and give me a state route or at least a U.S. highway. Providence, Huntington Street. J.C. Handley Sports Complex. West Florida Flames. Okay, West Florida, Hillsborough County. And there's a bay there. And it's close enough to the water that there's a Coast Guard auxiliary nearby. Well, here's a bay. Kingswood, early release Monday, no school. Okay, come on, give me something here. You know, it's West Florida. Upais Latin Market. Cuban sandwiches. Bloomingdale Avenue. This is probably a better bet. I mean, is the actual town... Lots of things were called Brandon. The town actually called Brandon? Shadeville. I would go far in that town. The name just tells me I would. 'Cause I'm good at what that town is named after. Yeah, more Brandon. Okay, I'm beginning to think that... I mean, the town must be called Brandon. All these things called it. No, that's already Alabama. Brent, Gulf Breeze... Dickerson City. Valparaíso. Pretty Bayou. Tate's Hell State Forest. The only other thing we can be sure of is that this Brandon in Hillsborough County is in or near a bay. Trouble is, there are rather a lot of those in Florida. The town almost completely owned by bloody Scientology. That's Bradenton, Sarasota. Punta Gorda. Okay, let's see what else we can get as we... Maybe we can find an interstate or something. Yeah, more Brandon. Okay, this is definitely a place called Brandon. In Hillsborough County, which I have no idea, other than that it's in West Florida. And I'm not even entirely sure whether West Florida means like the west side of the shaft of Florida. John Moore Road, second signal. That doesn't help me. Oh, and their public transit system is the HART. Bell Shoals. Fuck it. I think probably around here someplace. Shit, it was in Tampa. Okay. Okay, very hard to say. There are a number of places this could be. Hello, Phoenix Rising. My mother asked me to tell you that, what you said about people, like, everybody wearing masks where you are, actually brought a tear to her eye. How you doing? We're in some middle of nowhere type place here. Yeah, I mean, it's not far from it for me as well. That sounds nice. There's no signage around here at all. So, I was feeling so wretched earlier, I didn't know if I was gonna manage to even do the stream tonight. But then I was reminded of how thoroughly Rudy Giuliani's life is fucking falling apart. Comuna tu festi. We're in Romania. Ah, that sounds good. Alimentare cu apa potabilă realizată cu... Okay, yeah. Well, even the EU Developmental Fund notice signs are scuffed. Tu fești. Târgu Mureș. Târgu Jur. Onești. No idea. Yeah, hearing how fucked up Rudy Giuliani's life has become in the past couple of years actually brought a smile to my face. Okay, this is the sort of place where horses just casually walk around in the street. So I'm guessing we're not in a major city here. Drogashan, Slatina, Gaesht, Lojesht, Slobozia, Udesht, Sundari, Tufesht. There we are, Tufesht. In Braila, Montaigne. Okay. .9 kilometers, not bad. 3 of 5. What does that say? Cuidado con el tren. Okay, Spanish-speaking place. Oh, hold on, there's a... can't get close enough to be able to read it, so... there will be other things. I mean, I feel like we're in South America almost, certainly. But it could also pretty easily be Mexico. It could be Central America. Come on, give me a stop sign. A stop sign will narrow it down a bit. I mean, a flag would narrow it down as well. But I'll settle for a stop sign. Oh. Okay. Desert and cactus. I feel like we might be in Sonora. I'm just gonna say someplace up in maybe well, not Nogari, but near it. Nowhere near it. I mean, the desert, I got that right, but it's just outside San Luis Potosí. Okay. Four of 5. Oh, this is a landmark one. Is there an exit? Hold on. I think that's Korean on the bottom there. No, it is not. Ishigaki Kosu. We're in Japan. It's some sort of temple with park en suite. Okay. Oh, come on. I was trying to find the exit, and they pulled me right back in. Oh, interesting. Japanese and Korean. Nagabi, Kumamoto. Could be in Kumamoto. Maybe. Ken Dento Kogi-kan. Kenmotsudai Gikimoku-en. Kumamoto Joda. Okay, I believe we must be in Kumamoto. I wonder if in Kumamoto there is obsessed with showing people the castle as they're in Nagoya. In Nagoya, every time you meet somebody new who hears you just got to there, they want you to see the castle. They take you to see the castle. You end up seeing the castle like 5, 6, 7 times. There we go, Kumamoto Joda. $129 meters. Not bad at all. 5,000 points. And now we're back someplace. I think we're in Quebec. Nouveau prix à vendre? Yeah, we're in Quebec. Okay. Rue Vigneault. Ugh. Yep. Yeah, Quebec. Some sort of rural area of Quebec. Fuck knows where exactly. Danger. Aston Junction Rail Yard. Could be Eastern Ontario. Trouble is, Ontario's fucking huge. Eganville, Renfrew. Cobalt. Rwanda. Gestion. Oh, it's up by Trois-Rivières. Yeah, Aston Junction. Oh, there we go. $19,946 points. Not my best result. Okay. And now it is time for the bouncers at the chuds. Got a few options. We could continue with a guide to uniting Marxism with MAGA and see if it ever gets beyond Haz telling us about his fucking body odor. We could have a look at something new that I just found. Don't Worry, Darling is a feminist fever dream! And Dennis Prager debates angry leftist. I mean, that looks like it might be promising. Well. Let's see, what have we got in there? She-Hulk was so cringe I almost agreed with Ben Shapiro. And do I regret how I handled the Harry Potter woman trauma? Also, Dark Brendan forgives debt terrorizes GOP. And why is Anna Kasparian getting dogpiled over this take? I'm guessing because it sucks shit. Because apparently, I mean, Vosh. Yeah. And we've got Zan rants about YouTubers and streaming. So we got a collection here. We got some stuff. We got some things. Or is the right collapsing in the U.S., which I have to say, I mean, that's all. That's certainly going to be a good take. Hmm. Oh, and we've got I live rent free in this pathetic tanky's head. Okay. Hmm.
I'm going to open up to you guys about like the insidious evil influence that's like always looming over me as a streamer.
You mean Vosh?
And how much self-control it unironically takes to fight it.
Okay. We're gonna hear about his self-control. I didn't know he had any, but okay.
Okay. something that I've noticed in my time as a YouTuber slash streamer, and way before that, as like just a random Zoomer who liked to watch content.
Hey, that's my fucking middle name. Anytime someone says more than one negative thing about him, he acts as if they're obsessed with him. Yeah. Anything to be the victim.
Creators that make content like this, or even just, YouTubers in general, all the way back to, my childhood. Something I noticed overwhelmingly.
Okay, wait, they were YouTubers in his fucking childhood? That just makes me feel so old. There was no such thing as a YouTuber until well into my fucking adulthood.
It feels like over and over.
Rachel McAdams. Oh, wow. Alright, yes, that is an aspiration. Oh, I have actually not seen Mean Girls, although there's so many fucking references to that perhaps I ought to, just so I can understand them fully.
Over and over again, whether it be mainstream Hollywood celebrities, reality show type celebrities, or your internet celebrities on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, or YouTube. Overwhelmingly, 100% of the time, it always feels like those that reach the top, that always end up seeing the most success, are those that are most willing to sacrifice all of their moral hang-ups to do so.
And Sanderhall has 73.1 thousand subscribers. So I guess he sacrificed a fair bit. Okay, I will check that out tonight. I need to relax a bit. I had a very taxing evening.
Reaching online success, if the opportunities are in front of you, is not as hard as people think it is. It's either hard.
Well, if the actual opportunities are in front of you, it's rarely all that hard. Because usually the hard part is finding them in the first place. This is Xander Hole. He is something that Vosh cleaned out of his ass. He's his big thing is monetizing the fact that he used to be a Nazi while actually expressing views that suggest that he's never really stopped.
Harder than you think it is, or it's easier than you think it is. Never in between. No one ever has an accurate prediction of how well they're going to do online. It's mostly luck. False. The part of it that is luck is the opportunity.
Well, I mean, of course it suits him to say false.
Having the opportunity to become a YouTuber or a streamer is luck. Growing up being born into a household where you grow up with access to computers and technology, and you end up having just the right upbringing to have the right personality and the right just mindset to be a streamer or a content creator. These are all luck-based things. Your circumstances, sure, you can work yourself into.
Okay. Where's he going with this?
Better circumstances, but most part for most.
Also, I mean, I don't think there's a specific personality that is good, that it works for like YouTubing and streaming. I mean, there are lots of different fucking personalities.
Most streamers and YouTubers, that was luck.
I mean, I will say one thing that is definitely very much luck. I mean, you assuming that you don't have somebody right there who's immediately going to get you in front of 1 million people and tell them that they absolutely need to follow you and check you out and subscribe to you because you're the next big fucking thing. You kind of need enough income that you can dedicate enough time to this that people actually start noticing you, and that is not easy. Either you need like savings, or you need some kind of job that has the kind of hours that allows you to do this at least a few times a week so that people actually see you and get used to you. Yeah, but it's lit like the background for a 1990s teen magazine fashion shoot.
However, while there is luck playing a large part into the algorithm game, It is not just luck.
Yeah, because the algorithm rewards reactionaries and people who support moneyed interests. Isn't it interesting how the algorithm was throwing Xander Hall at me when I'd never heard of him?
When people say it's just luck, they're covering up what they actually did to reach the level of success they've reached. Nobody on these platforms who's massive and extremely popular has done it 1,000,000,000% with their hands clean. I'm talking like PewDiePie level success, or like Markiplier level success.
Oh, okay, so he's not talking about his level of success, so there's no need to question any of his ethical choices.
I don't know, PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, they are not as clean and squeaky as they make themselves out to be.
PewDiePie's fucking fash. What the hell are you talking about not as clean as they make them up to be? I mean, PewDiePie does like fucking Nazi salutes and then says, "Oh, I was just frustrated." Like, how the fuck is he like acting like how the fuck is he acting like that's somebody who's apparently clean? PewDiePie is dodgy as shit, and that's been known for years. Like, the first thing I heard about him is he was a white supremacist.
There's just no way. The amount of opportunities that you get to sacrifice your principles in exchange for profit and popularity, that the sheer amount of times I've gotten those opportunities and just turned them down because it left a bad
What principles do you have to sacrifice at this point? You mean the fact that you like pretend not to be fash at this point?
taste in my mouth, or because I had shame. Big money making
I didn't know he was capable of shit.
opportunities, tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorships. Chat. I've been living.
He's telling us that he's a very ethical guy. Of course he fucking did. Of course he did.
Paycheck to pay.
I mean, I just like acting like PewDiePie is clean. The guy, like, I mean, the only reason I know him is because he was doing Nazi shit on stream.
Paycheck for the last 2 years because I was being robbed by my girlfriend without my knowledge. Every dollar that I made over the threshold of what I needed to make for us to get the bills paid was being siphoned off by my girlfriend, and
I immediately want to hear his girlfriend's version of this because I have a feeling it's probably very, very different to this.
I was living in constant stress for the last 2 years straight. Every stream a desperate vie to make enough money to make ends meet. And despite that, I was turning down tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorship offers for...
Why don't you name check some of these sponsorships? Like, I mean, you keep on saying this reminds me of Caleb Muppet. He did this whole thing. He's like, if I wanted to be popular, I'd show you some pornography. If I wanted to be popular, I'd lie. I'd do more impressions. And it's like, what's stopping you? You're not popular now. See, I know nothing about his girlfriend. All I know is that I don't trust a word that comes out of his mouth. He's completely full of shit. So I want to know what fucking... I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I know nothing about it, but it would not surprise me if he's just completely full of shit about that. But, I mean, name check some of these fucking sponsors. Who was the sponsors that you turned down because of your, like, ethics? Come on, are you gonna name some? Because this sounds like bullshit.
Anything from scam gotcha games to mobile games and shit like that to products that are like obvious scams. The only fucking
like which ones?
Sponsorship I've ever taken was for the coldest water bottle. And that was a 3-month-long sponsorship that happened back in 2020. And I still used the bottle. And they did not prompt me on what I had to say about...
I thought Tim Pool was the one who kidnapped the cat.
...the bottle. The only reason I took the sponsorship was because they said, all you have to do is mention the bottle. Which meant if I didn't like it, I was going to shit on it on stream, and that was going to be how I mentioned it. Those were the only requirements for the sponsorship, was to show the bottle and talk about it once every 3 videos.
Okay.
So if I didn't like
How
it,
is he gonna go on about this fucking water
I was
bottle?
gonna shit on the bottle, but I liked it and it was good. So I actually shilled for it sincerely and said you guys should buy them. Dozens of other sponsorship opportunities were right there on my fucking desk waiting for me. Tens of thousands of dollars of extra money I could have taken, only it would have been, in my opinion.
Okay, and what I'm kind of curious about is if he's saying, okay, because he doesn't seem to be doing sponsorships now, and I knew streamers who are at roughly at his level of visibility, and YouTubers who are getting sponsorships from things like Skillshare or stuff like that, or NordVPN or whatever. And he's saying, I mean, that the only major sponsorships apart from that one he's gotten are from like scams. That's interesting.
Immoral. That is not the only example. I would be a lot further on in where I am today if I was more shameless.
Yeah, it would be really remarkable to see him being more shameless.
Double uploading alone was something I just saw as, just too shameless to stoop down to until recently.
Okay, what is double uploading exactly? Because as far as I can tell... Oh, I see. Didn't he have a video about how something happened to his PayPal account?
It wasn't until recently that my editor, who's now full-time, convinced me that we should do double uploads and just spam uploads as much as possible. Just do what the algorithm wants. Dump content.
See, and that's something, it's interesting that that's where he has ethical qualms. Like fucking with the algorithm. I don't give a shit about fucking with the algorithm. If I had a way to fuck with the algorithm that was not doing anything to the detriment of the people, that was not like screwing over my, my viewers or anyone that I actually care about screwing over, then yeah, I'll fuck with the algorithm. I don't see where ethics come into that. The algorithm isn't ethical.
As many stream segments, as many topics, as many segments as possible onto YouTube as often as possible at a good regular schedule. That's what YouTube likes. And
oh god, they're taking the piss. Oh my god, you're just like Walter White turning down millions of dollars. Breaking Bad reference.
Even that was just doing YouTube right was something my editor had to convince me to do. I'm not saying this to like say, oh, look what a good person I am or anything. I know that has like the...
Well, no, that is exactly why you're saying that. Otherwise, you'd be calling out these scams that you say are trying to get your sponsorships.
It looks that way. It does. There's no denying that. What I'm trying to point out here is that viewers are very bad at recognizing the mindset of the streamers and the content creators and the influencer. The viewers tend to have a very warped perspective of the mindset of the influencer they watch.
Okay, so he's saying that the people who are watching him probably wouldn't be watching him if they had any idea what he was thinking about them? I can buy that.
Whether it be their goals, how they make their money, how much money they make, that's a big one. Notice how I'm always really transparent about my income?
Okay. Is he? I have no idea. I have not looked into his income. I just stick to his views, which suck. I wouldn't be surprised. But, okay.
Like, unlike a lot of other content creators, regardless of how much I'm making, whether it's like an embarrassingly low amount or like a potentially, maybe I don't make as much now because I made, maybe I have a good month and now I'm risking not making as much the next month if I tell people I had a good month.
Okay. It is sort of weird to hear this from, I mean, he clearly, look, first of all, that is a pretty spacious bedroom he's in. I mean, on the other hand, of course, it isn't a dedicated streaming area. So, but it does not look like he's exactly hurting for money.
Despite that, I still make my income pretty damn public and let you guys know how much I'm
What does he mean by pretty damn public? Does that mean he makes part of it public, but not the whole thing?
making, and even show how much I'm making each stream on screen so you guys can tell how much I'm making and what my financial situation is. So none of you guys can be under the impression that I'm like, struggling to get by when I'm not.
I mean, I never was under that impression. You just don't look like you're struggling to get by. Yeah, I mean, I do not really trust a single thing he says either.
You know? Like, these are just things that other content creators don't do that I like to do because I grew up watching content.
Lots of fucking creators are transparent about their income to the extent of, having a fucking bar on the bottom of the screen. Plenty of creators do that.
Content creators, and I know what it's like to be a viewer and one, be totally out of the loop on the reality of what's going on in the influencer you like's lives. Two, I know like the kind of shit that now because of experience that YouTubers and streamers and these influencers are offered and the types of shameless things they'll do to get ahead.
You mean like monetizing the fact that you made a colossal failure of political and moral judgment?
And that they've had to do to get ahead, no doubt. And
I mean, because I think that's kind of shameless. I mean, see, I think that somebody who gets involved with Fash and then realizes what a bad thing that is. I mean, I'm all for the possibility of people realizing that and changing. But the one thing that immediately would make me doubt that any of it is sincere is if they start monetizing it and if they start lecturing us, lecturing leftists, lecturing people of color, lecturing all the people who have to worry about fascists, about their need to just suspend all disbelief and immediately trust anyone who claims that they're no longer a fascist. That's immediately when I have my serious doubts. I don't know I don't know where this is going apart from just I mean he said this isn't about telling people what a good person he is, but that's like the only thing. We're like 7 minutes into it and it's pretty much all been about how ethical he is.
Three, frankly, because I want you guys to know. You guys need to know how to spot insidious behavior on the part of content creators.
Well, this is a good Xander Hole's channel is a great place to go to learn what insidious behavior on the part of content creators looks like. He is totally right. Yeah, I mean, he's a piece of shit.
Um,
And the thing is, what gets me is like somebody watching this and who has not seen all the other dodgy shit he's done could get the idea. I mean, could just read this straight and they would completely be taken in.
Internet historian who might be looking at you. Internet historian's a chud. As for his sponsorships, the guy doesn't like care, and I don't think his viewership cares. I think he's just doing the sponsor to make money. And no,
Well, why did the fuck do you think anyone is doing sponsorships? You think people are doing sponsorships because of their just abiding love for whatever fucking company they're accepting sponsorships from? The reason anybody does sponsorships is they need money, and they need money because we live in capitalism.
none of his audience cares. The issue is I kind of do hold myself and other content creators to a bit of a standard that I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't hold myself to the same
He holds his content creators to a standard that he'd be a hypocrite if he didn't keep himself. I'll just let that hang there for a second, shall we? He holds internet creators to a standard that he feels compelled to hold himself to. I mean, we've seen a lot about his standards here. You don't really get a feel for it. You have to actually watch all his other shit to realize just how many lightning bolts ought to be hitting him every time with every sentence here.
standard, you know? And a lot of it is that as well. You know what?
I mean, this reminds me of fucking Prince Andrew, saying, "My judgment has been clouded by my tendency to be too honorable." Yeah, in that horrible interview he gave where he was explaining how actually he does not have any recollection of that photo at the fucking Epstein party. And also he doesn't sweat. Well, he didn't sweat at the time. And actually he was at a Pizza Express in Woking at the time. And all this shit. I mean, that's what this is making. That's what this is feeling like.
I hold other content creators.
Let me see if I can find it in here.
He don't think he's ever bought a drink. He don't know where the bar is. It was almost impossible for him to sweat. Nuts! Nuts!
My judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
His judgment was probably coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
My judgment.
I should have that. I should have that as like some sort of just a short audio clip that I can play every time he starts talking about how fucking ethical he is, while at the same time claiming that this is not about telling people how fucking ethical he is.
To a pretty damn high standard on this show.
Oh, well, yes, in that you lie and smear them if they even slightly to the left of you, and it is not hard to be to the left of you.
My show is pretty much an 80% shitting on other content creators for not being good enough by my standards.
Yeah, and your standards suck shit. I mean,
wouldn't I be kind of a shitty hypocrite, you know, if I like stooped equally low?
And wouldn't you be an even shittier hypocrite if you stooped even lower?
My judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
His judgment was probably coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
Or if I wasn't equal, like if I wasn't transparent, or if I didn't, you know, I'd be a fucking hypocrite. Nordman.
Yeah, that's right. You are a fucking hypocrite.
It's a very original and novel idea. How dare you? I use NordVPN, but I'm not sponsored by them. Like,
and that's very interesting. Okay.
I unironically am using NordVPN right now as we speak. It says I'm.
Which is great because NordVPN is one of the ones that's had some major data leakage issues. It's not actually the securest VPN around. I've never actually seen the really secure VPNs doing these sponsorships.
In Canada, but I'm not in Canada, but I'm not sponsored by them. I actually used whose promo code did I end up using? I think it was Big Money Salvia's. I used Internet Comment Etiquette's promo code for NordVPN. Big money. Anyway, listen. That aside, you guys as content as content consumers are getting a very filtered, very purposefully manipulated version of
Yeah, I mean, he's just telling on himself right now, isn't he?
anything.
Every accusation he makes is an admission. He's just snitching on himself like there's no tomorrow.
That you see. Here, if you want a good idea of how much a content creator warps the perspective of what you're seeing, here's a non-political example. I know this seems really, really weird.
Okay, he cut something there.
And like really, really strange homework to give you. But Eddie Burback.
Oh, somebody says it in the chat. Wasn't Nord, like, leaked? Yeah, it was, like, leaked.
And Ted Nivision did a road trip together that they both vlogged, in which they visited every rainforest cafe in the country. You've probably seen these videos.
Okay.
watching both
I have never even heard of these videos, or, for that matter, Rainforest Cafe.
sides of the road trip on both their channels, on both their ends, is like watching the A and B runs of like Resident Evil 2. It's like hearing their takes, their opinions, their perspective, and their side of things. It's just a totally different story.
Okay, so, I mean, yeah, people have different perceptions of shared experiences. This is not groundbreaking. I mean, are you saying that there was something unethical about why these perspectives were different? I mean, like, spit it out, man.
Seeing this road trip completely from the lens of one YouTuber and then completely from the lens of another YouTuber, two YouTubers that took the same road trip together, then seeing how they framed it to their audiences just from their own biases, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not...
Oh, okay, there's nothing wrong with it, so it's not a very good example for what you're talking about. It's not a really good example of what you're talking about, because obviously people understand, I would assume, that when you're watching a content creator, like people watching me, for example, admittedly, this is a rare example. There aren't a lot of people watching me at the moment, though. That's kind of steadily growing. Right? I mean, chat is way livelier than it used to be. Fuck. I mean, it used to be there would be 2 or 3 messages in chat, and I'd actually feel kind of embarrassed to have chat on screen. But you know that you're getting the person's perspective. I mean, this is my perspective on Xander Hole's bullshit, and other people are gonna have a different perspective. Other people are gonna have other things jump out to them, both because they've seen their prior knowledge of Xander Hole is different in certain ways, and because just their perspective is. That's not sinister. That's not a good example of what you're talking about people having warped and filtered perceptions. I mean, that's just normal.
Calling anything out in these videos. This is just a very small, harmless,
if you're not calling
this apolitical, non-controversial example of how the content creator that you're watching heavily shapes how a line of events could look.
No shit. I mean, that's kind of really basic. Like, I mean, for example, when you're learning about the line of events that happen between Professor Flowers and Vosh, for example, and you decide that the content creator you're going to listen to is Vosh Dingleberry Xanderhole, yeah, obviously it's going to be the exact same bullshit that came out of Vosh's mouth. He's just going to repeat every single Vosh lie, and that's just kind of his guarantee to you. His promise to you, the viewer, is that any lie, no matter how ridiculous and easily debunked, that Vosh tells, he will endorse it to the hilt. And the idea is to breed an entire, new species of viewer who only who only watch those two on any subject that actually is of interest, that they talk about. So, because everybody else self-selects out.
Because the story we got from Eddie Burback was kind of a little different from the story we got from Technovision, wasn't it? Not super different, but
This isn't even a fucking rant.
Kinda different in some ways.
So, who gives a shit? It's kinda different in some ways. Yeah, if I watch Malati di Pizza and I watch Adam Ragusa, even though they're both talking about, fucking how to do the dough for Neapolitan pizza, they're gonna come at it in slightly different ways, not least because only Ubi's one of them's gonna be doing it in Italian and the other one isn't. By the way, if you want to learn how to make Neapolitan pizza, and you understand Italian, or if you just want to look at two guys working with dough and beautiful pizzas and speaking Italian, even if you don't understand it, check out Malati di Pizza. They fucking slap. I love that channel. But yeah. This is just talking about fucking perspective. Do you not? I mean, you started this thing out talking about people having this warped idea of everything, and now you're just talking about how people have different perspectives, and I think everybody kind of knows that.
Enough so that, like, it's worth considering whether or not the perspective you're getting from any content creator you watch, me.
Oh, yeah, definitely him. Oh, it is. I mean, you should just pick a randomly. So, like, they go in one of the ones that I recently saw. There's a place in the province of Caserta, like just a little bit northwest of Naples, called Socivo, and there is a pizzaiolo there who has a pizzeria that has a wine list with 400 fucking labels on it, and the most absolutely beautiful pizza in canotto. Like, it's a traditional Neapolitan pizza, but with a huge cornicione, a huge edge, because it looks like a sort of a canoe, I guess. And God, it's beautiful. And it's just fun listening to them talk. They clearly know a lot about the subject, and they clearly have passion for the subject, and it's so well photographed too. And they also review these portable, like, Neapolitan pizza ovens, and this is a random digression. I guess that's how boring this Xanderhall video. He says Zan rants, that there's no ranting. This is an example of what you're talking about, Zan. You promised a fucking right-wing crybaby meltdown to your viewers here in this title. And instead, you're just giving us boredom. You're just giving us, hey, did you know that people have different perspectives? And by the way, I'm a very ethical person. I mean, it is not saying too much at all to say that
My judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
His judgment was probably coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
yeah, I mean, this video kind of
Vosh, ContraPoints.
yeah, also definitely be taking Vosh with a fucking salt mine's worth of salt.
Conservative content creators, John
Well, I mean, you and Vosh are conservative content creators. You can pretend otherwise all you want.
Oliver, mainstream news celebrities, whatever. Whether or not what they're saying or what they're iterating to you is being
That's not what iterating is.
heavily manipulated or at the very least
Okay, that wasn't. You didn't give us an example of manipulating. You've been talking about perspective, and yeah, manipulating happens. Lying happens. Lying and manipulating happens a lot on Xanderhole's and Vosh's channels. I mean, not exclusively, but since he treats like Vosh and himself like some sort of like beacon of ethics, it's worth pointing out. I mean, being full of shit is kind of their brand.
By their personal biases, or even if they have a agenda, which could either be as simple as pushing a political narrative or just making money.
Or smearing anti-racists, smearing women of color who come on your channel. Starting racist hate mobs because you just kind of enjoy it.
It could just be as simple as making money. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. I know it seems like a weird rant, but like
it wasn't a rant. It was just there was no ranting. It was just boring.
Basically, the moral of the story is do not ever 100% trust YouTubers or streamers, not even me. Never 100%.
Oh, well, especially not you.
100% trust me. Trust me like 99.99%, you know? But
yeah, no. That's way too much. Move that decimal point a few places to the left, and then we're talking. I trust you when you tell us what your name is.
But never 100%, okay? No matter what. No matter how trustworthy any content creator seems, never trust them 100%, because at the end of the day, they are putting their best foot forward.
Wow, if this is his best foot, imagine what the other one looks like.
To the internet. And that best foot isn't their true self 100%.
Okay, I hope he's not gonna try to continue this metaphor. It is just the end of one limb of their true self.
Without 100% knowledge of what someone is really like, you can't really know them. So what I ask of you is that in the future, when you watch content creators, no matter what, just know that you're a viewer and they're the content creator, and they
Well, you okay?
Are like filtering content to you, and what you're seeing isn't necessarily 100% accurate to what happened.
Yeah. Especially on this channel, this is really good advice. But I mean, it is something that should be taken more generally. I mean, honestly, critical analysis of sources is easily the one of the most neglected subjects, and it's something we really absolutely. It would be nice if we could just kind of take a few days off from all these current ongoing fucking disasters, and just have sort of a little in service and say, okay, we're gonna talk about how to critically analyze sources, and just go through it, just go at it.
Xander Hall discovers perspective and framing.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, his chat is roasting him a little.
Wait, I'm sorry, broke point. I discover perspective and framing. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, you're acting like this is novel information. Yes.
No. I'm teaching perspective and framing to my audience.
No, you actually changed the subject to perspective and framing. You started out talking about filtering and manipulation and people being deceived and all this crap. And then you go, okay, we're going to have a non-sinister or non-political example. And it turns out it's all just fucking perspective and framing. But I mean, and you talk about this like this is a novel insight of yours. So yeah, I mean, that is an entirely fair roast right there.
Because unfortunately, if you look at the fucking internet these days, the existence of people...
Oh, here comes the rant. The rant comes because his chat's roasting.
People like Andrew Tate or Jake Paul or like...
Or Xander Hall?
J Station or any... or Rice Gum or any douche tuber type, any...
Okay, you're saying that the concept of a douche tuber does not include you, is that right?
Content or Jake Paul or the Paul brothers or any...
Is like douche tuber a recognized YouTube subgenre or something?
Anything, or KSI, anyone like that? The existence of douchebag content creators like...
yeah, like all these people who are not me.
That speaks to the fact that there is an epidemic of content consumers that do not understand perspective and framing.
No, it just means that asshole content creators are very popular among assholes. And, you know, and people like Vosh, like Xander Hall, like PewDiePie, like, fucking, you know, Tim Pool, and all of those, and that Crowder fuck, and all those pricks. Who, I mean, what they do is they license people, they give people permission to let out all of the worst things, the worst, just most malodorous aspects of their personalities. It occurs to me, oh no, actually the crop's good. And make them think that they are doing some sort of great political work by doing so. That is why dickheads like that get in there. I mean, I don't think a lot of the people even give a shit whether they're lying. I don't think a lot of people give a shit when he's lying or when Fosh is lying. I think that they've attracted people who don't care and who love an opportunity to just go off on one of these fucking harassment, dogpile, hate mob bullshit activities that he likes to arrange for people. Because it's an opportunity to feel righteous while doing the absolute worst that you're capable of. Well, now he's whining about his chat, pointing out how fucking obvious all of his so-called insights are.
So do not call me out like this is some forehead shit here.
That's not how you shit.
Like I'm not like making a brave statement here on the internet.
No, you're not. I mean, basically, you never are.
When this absolutely fucking is a brave statement on the internet. All right.
No, it fucking isn't. I mean, all you did was you ranted for a while about how
Judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
His judgment was probably coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
And then you decide to talk about perspective and framing like nobody's ever heard of it before.
right? People protect their favorite content creators like they are infallible fucking gods.
And he should know that because his fucking stands are some of the worst. I mean, his and Vosh's, they just don't give a fuck. If Vosh or him says, yeah, this person's bad, go after him, they just do it, and they don't even bother to check whether it's even true.
The stan culture is real.
Of course, you're in it. This is like you standing, standing in a fucking pool of water on Antarctica and acting like you've just discovered that climate change is real.
And the deification of content creators is not only bad for the fans of those content creators that get taken advantage of, but it's bad for the content creators.
Okay. See, he keeps on talking about this in the third person, but the thing is, I don't see him ever calling out his fans who go off on these hate mobs. I don't see him calling out Vosh's fans who do it. I don't see him actually, because both of them are just some of the most toxic motherfuckers out there at the moment, outside of the explicit alt-right, I have to say. and their stands are some of the absolute worst that I've encountered. And he's acting like this is somebody else's problem.
When these content creators get held up to a pedestal, held up to a standard that's not possible to reach, when they make a tiny little, human
Don't hold Xanderhall to too high a standard, he can't reach it.
mistake online, they get fucking canceled over it.
Oh, wow. Yes, because cancel culture is real, and
99% of cancellations online are over simple human mistakes that you'd expect anyone to make.
Okay. Well, what the fuck does that even mean? Okay. Because every time I hear the word cancelled used to describe somebody who's supposedly the victim of cancel culture, it turns out they said some racist or ableist or fucking misogynistic shit. They said, or some just straight up fast shit. And when people said, yeah, that's kind of fucked up what you just said, they double down on it. So it's interesting that Xanderhall,
Coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
My judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
whose judgment is probably colored by his tendency to be too honorable, is here trying to just trivialize why people get criticized online.
But these
Why prominent content
creators
creators
like Dream, for example, are deified by their audience so much that if Dream makes so much as a tiny mistake, a tiny human mistake, God has made a mistake. It's time for fucking Twitter to melt down.
It's interesting. He once again, he's not providing examples. He's being very mopinistic here in avoiding any specific examples, because I'm guessing these things aren't tiny mistakes that he's talking about.
I'm sorry. Stan culture alone speaks to the need for this conversation to happen.
Wait, but I mean, stan culture is what you get if you don't have people taking a critical approach to... Wait a sec, okay, he has changed his advice quite a few times. Because first it was like, don't trust don't trust content creators. Everybody's got their own biases. Don't trust me, don't trust Vosh, don't trust anybody. Everybody's a little bit full of shit some of the time, whatever. And then he says, don't hold them up to standards, and don't criticize them, but also stan culture, which is what you get when people just uncritically accept whatever bullshit comes out of one of these pricks' mouths, is also bad. So it's like everything's bad, and the only way to actually follow his advice is by not watching him.
Do not make fun of me.
No, I can't help it. Look, if you want me to stop making fun of you, you're just gonna have to stop making videos.
Broke point. This conversation needed to happen. Any truers in chat? Anyone else agree? One of my favorite video game lines is no one will ever live up to his legacy, not even him. Damn, that's fucking deep. What did KSI do? KSI is a douche tuber, okay? He just
What the hell is a douche
is,
tuber?
all right? Like, even if KSI is not, like, as in the grand scheme of things, an asshole, just the type of
Do you need the grand scheme of things in order to be an asshole? I mean, I always thought asshole was more the small scheme of things to begin with.
content that he makes, he's a douche tuber. He's a douche tuber, you know?
No, I don't. What the fuck does that mean?
There's a type of YouTuber that's just, you know, a douche tuber. And that's kind of what KSI is. Same goes.
Oh, well, I mean, well, then what exactly are you, Xanderhall? Who all you do is whatever bullshit Vosh did recently, you just do a slightly less polished, less competent version of it. What does that make you? Are you like a Dingleberry tuber? Is this Dingleberry tube we're watching right now?
For like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, they're douche tubers. They're like,
I mean, Xanderhall just it must live in fear of the day that Vosh can afford his own bidet. And that's like, that has fucking meter to it. You could... Xanderhall must live in fear of the day when Vosh can afford his own bidet. Because, I mean, then Xanderhall's just gone right down the dunny.
content is that they're rich douchebags who are famous that you know, flex a lot, you know? Although I guess KSI, you know, yeah, actually no, KSI actually has talent. Never mind. KSI, I think, actually has talent. Like, isn't he a pretty good boxer? And didn't he rap as well? I remember there was a time when diss tracks were like...
Xanderhall, information unclear. You are a compulsive liar? Well, yes, I don't know about compulsive, but he's certainly a liar. Hello, Shakespeare. We are actually wrapping up. And it's pity because you missed, us hearing how, Xanderhall...
Coloured by my tendency. My judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable.
His
His
judgment
judgment
is probably coloured by his tendency to be too honourable.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It has been him, like, fucking talking about how ethical he is, and then having this fucking brainstorm where he discovers perspective and framing, and talks about it like it's this big fucking discovery. It was totally irrelevant to what he was initially talking about, and then he got roasted by his chat for it, and now he's starting to get a bit whiny, and talking about how other people are douche tubers.
The Thing on YouTube, weren't his diss tracks, like, actually kind of good? Let me know if I'm wrong here. It's literally been years.
You're probably wrong, you're Xanderhall. Being wrong is your brand.
But weren't KSI's diss tracks, like, not bad? Like, they were kind of fire. KSI absolutely was on that diss track bag. Yeah, I remember KSI. His diss tracks were kind of fire. Like, no, like, not gonna lie. Okay, you know what? KSI is a douche too.
Logan Paul has been pretty based lately. This is the standard of people who are attracted to dollar store Vosh. He was talking about his ex-girlfriend earlier. I know nothing about this whole ex-girlfriend thing, but he was claiming that she was like siphoning off money that he was making or some shit. I know absolutely nothing about it. I immediately want to hear her version of it just because his version is so fucking suspect just because it's his version.
But he's actually talented. He hasn't
got the fucking courage of any of his convictions today. He is.
So I'll put that aside. I'm talking about like the content creators whose literal only claim to fame is being young, famous teenagers.
What about the content creators whose only claim to fame is being early 20s ex-Nazis who don't know anything?
You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Those figures are, I feel like, the most perfect distillations of this problem, in total. TikTok is just filled with these types, you know? Random teenagers who just got famous dancing to random licensed music on TikTok. and then moved to LA into a house of a bunch of people and made a big hype house type thing, a content house, and then, oh geez, Leon Lush did a really good video as well on hype houses and why they or content houses and why they fail.
Like, just the entire idea sounds dystopian as fuck.
And that video has guided a lot of my goals on making the perfect content.
I don't want to live in a fucking house where everything's gonna be fucking content. That would suck. There are entire percentages of my life that I want never, ever, ever to be content. Including the roughly hour and a half between when I wake up and when I have had enough coffee to actually interact with people. Actually, we'll give it another half hour because I also want to get my hair done. Because that always looks fucked up when I wake up. Yeah, I mean, entire percentages of my life, I don't want to be content. The idea of an entire house dedicated to turning everything into fucking content is just nightmarish.
Content house. One that would not fail. Because it wouldn't be a content house. Not technically.
What do you mean? How technical can we get on the concept of a content house? That's only existed for like a minute and a half to begin with.
Or streamers. Or streamers. I mean, we've covered the streamer drama. You've seen,
No, you haven't. You
seen what happens. Anyway, I'm glad I was able to get that off my chest. It was a good segment. A good little Zan chat therapy segment. Hope
oh, okay. I'm glad that it was therapeutic for him because it was just boring as shit to me. Yeah, I mean, I can understand saying that as a, like, good night, I'm just about wrapping up myself. You know, like, say, you know, something, you fuck something up completely and you say, oh, it's content. I mean, I've always kind of said that, even before people said it's content. Like, you know, you experience some sort of absolute disaster, and at least you got a story out of it. You know, it's something you can tell people and, you know, make conversation about or something like that. I mean, I can kind of understand that, but the idea of an entire living space where apparently people are going to be living, and all it is just shitting out low-effort content. God, that sounds terrible.
hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a like, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and ring the bell icon so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. They just won't do that otherwise. And of course, if you want to support my channel and make sure that my videos don't get raided by conservatives, you can comment.
Well, how would you be able to tell the difference between them being rated by conservatives and just your normal people? Because Xanderhall himself has specifically said he makes a great effort to avoid saying things that will offend right-wingers in his streams. He said that in one of the streams I covered here.
Comment something down below, like, I don't know, comment trans rights down below. How about that? People love commenting trans rights. It's
Well, I mean, that's something you could certainly roast Xanderhall with, because he's absolutely shit on trans rights. He threw trans people under the bus to defend Vosh's misogynistic tweet in reference to fucking J.K. Rowling.
completely unrelated, and the YouTube algorithm will no doubt be very confused by it, but comment it anyway, because it's funny. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a fucking joke to him. He doesn't take any of this seriously because it doesn't affect him.
Of course, if you want to support me financially, you can always do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live. Or you can support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or Patreon. Links down below, of course. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.
Oh, God. I mean, yeah, you should be thanking people because this was actually kind of painful to go through. Because it's just fucking boring. It's you having a very banal realization on stream. And, yeah, I want my fucking money back, and I didn't even pay you for this. I just want you to give me money for having suffered through this.
You are based, and have a good one.
Yeah, fuck off. Okay, and with that, it is time to wrap up for tonight. I need to relax. I had a pretty long evening. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Shakespeare. I'm sorry you came in, just as we're kind of wrapping up. But, good to see all of you. I just love that we have this lively chat now and everything. And I will be back here on Friday at 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on hyperpolyglotting with Elise from, I believe, 4 to 7. I'm gonna have to finalize that schedule. I have to make sure that that works, and there may be things that come in between that require to be changed a bit, but that's what I'm planning to do. So good to see all of you. Have a good night. Enjoy cutting the Parmigiano Reggiano. I love that stuff so much. Have a good night.